I'm here with my friend Adam. Good evening, Adam.
Hello, how are you, Andy?
I am fine. We are here to talk about films and books and music and all sorts of stuff. Do you have a favorite part of all the reviews that you do? Do you have a favorite genre of
Oh,
media
that's a great
that you get to
question.
review?
So I do actually, and you might be surprised by it, and I get to pursue it today. I haven't written this yet, but I love reviewing music, and I'm back to being the main music guy. I was for years, and then for years I wasn't, and now I've got that on my plate again. And I love rock music and I love metal. And there's a new metal album out this week by a band called Ghost. I think it's called Skeleta or Skeleta, something. There's an accent mark in there somewhere. They are a Swedish death metal band, for lack of a better phrase to describe them. They're the first metal band that's hit number one with an album in the United States for 4 years. Rock is pretty much dead. And so I'm going to be reviewing that later today. Our review will probably be up on Friday, the 9th of May. And I am really looking forward to that. I love digging into the ideas in music, and I'm just a rock guy. So, even if I have to confront a lot of stuff that is problematic, I enjoy that process immensely. So there you
Okay.
go.
I like music. I mean, I can talk to you all day about genres and stuff. I'm rubbish at band names. People think I run a radio station. Oh, you know such and such a band. Not a clue.
Nope.
I know the stuff that I like. That's not my forte. We have people who
Yep.
can do that. But I love music because it is such a powerful medium. It's a bit
Yeah.
like radio versus TV, music versus videos, films. I think radio and music are far more powerful than their screen focused other halves, because I think there's a personality which
Yep.
goes deeper when you're listening than when you're watching, because your senses are more focused.
I think so too. And I don't know if we have talked about this. If we have, forgive us for going here again. But, we review music, TV, video games, books, all sorts of stuff, movies, obviously. And I'm in complete agreement with you. I think, you know, pound for pound, ounce for ounce, minute for minute, whatever comparison you want to use metaphorically. I don't think anything touches music especially for kids who are into music. And not every kid is a music kid. But I mean, for me, when I was growing up, um, maybe I've seen Star Wars 300 times, but my favorite songs, I grew up in the cassette age. I would literally wear them out. The vocals would go away because I had listened to those songs and rewound them. Imagine having to rewind something to listen to it thousands upon thousands of times. And so you're getting that repeated exposure. I think music does something emotionally in the way it connects with us that no other medium does. And I think more than anything else, we identify with artists on a personal level in a way that we don't, for the most part, with other forms of entertainment. I think the angriest letters we ever get from kids, especially, are when we take their favorite artist to task. They let us know we're wrong. They take it personally. And so I do think I agree with you. I think that music, for all of those reasons, is maybe the most intimate and most personal, and I would dare say most influential form of entertainment, even though we're largely focused on, various screen oriented and video oriented forms for the most part.
I think for me personally, the reason why I feel music is such a strong thing, whether it's through the radio, a CD, cassette tape. Yep, I had cassette tapes. I whatever the way that we listen to it, it's music for me, because you can close your eyes, you can just
Right.
totally zone out from what's going on around you. If you're watching a film and you close your eyes, you are missing so much of that film
Right.
that, that they intend for you to see. Even if there's music, the music is generally not the point. Fantasia,
Right.
perhaps from Disney, but apart from that, the music is there to help what you're seeing come to a greater life. So when you're listening to the music, I mean, I like listening to soundtracks. Sometimes I've just gone through Pulp Fiction. Some
Uh-huh.
of that will not be on the station, some of it will be.
Right.
But I like going through the music that you hear in a film but hearing all of it because you might only get 7 seconds.
Right.
But somebody's written a 4-minute piece of music, and I
Right.
like to listen to the whole thing.
Totally. Totally. I'm in complete agreement. So look for our Ghost review later this week.
Fine, fine. Yes. I think also from a sensory perspective, when you're zoning out your senses and you've only got less senses to work with, then it helps you to further enhance the listening experience. There you go. My little
Yeah.
bit of listening to my occupational therapist every week. Right. Where else would you like us to go? Because we've talked a lot of music,
So
which
we're going to
I'm
do
okay with.
a little bit of a switcheroo this week, and you'll understand as soon as I say it.
Go for it.
The biggest new movie this week is Juliet and Romeo. And you might be saying to yourself, wait, isn't that backwards?
I'm already
It
questioning it.
is. Because of all of the Romeo and Juliet movies, this is another one. You know, it's been 2 or 3 years since we saw one, and about
That
10
long?
years before that. So what sets this one apart, apart from the name swap, is it is a musical. So if you have been lying awake in your bed at night thinking, oh, I just wish somebody would make Romeo and Juliet in the style of High School Musical, your prayers have been answered. It's here. It feels sort of scientifically engineered to appeal to 14-year-old girls. And it's been a long time since I was 14. I was 14 in 1984. It's a very good year. And I've never been a girl. So I'm really outside the demographic here. And I found it sort of tiresome, which maybe just speaks to my trollish age. If you love this movie, I apologize. But we've seen so many different versions of this thing, right? We know where it's going, and they mix things up a little bit. It's not quite as utterly bleak as the 1594 original. I just looked up, when was Romeo and Juliet first staged? 1594.
Okay.
But it certainly speaks to Shakespeare's lasting influence that, 450 years later, we're still messing with this story. We can't quite get away from it. And 400, not quite 50, whatever the math is on that. It still has problems, right? We still have a love affair that this version anyway certainly implies gets pretty physical. It doesn't show that. And I think more to the point, just romanticizing potentially suicide. And we know that mental health and depression and suicide are at an all-time high culturally around the world. It's not just an American thing. And so I think anytime we get something that is sort of playing with those ideas and maybe romanticizing them, I think it's problematic. And again, it's Romeo and Juliet, right? We all know what the story is. I don't want to get the big stick out and just beat it into submission. But I also think sometimes with these really familiar things, we may not think critically about them because we are so familiar with them. So we have unpacked some of those things in our review at pluggedin.com. And that's the big movie this week, really.
I have seen a stage production of Romeo and Juliet. As a kid, I was forced to watch it. I did not enjoy that. I did watch the cartoon English version, Romeo and Juliet, with a star-studded cast, including Elton John. That one,
Oh, wow.
I quite liked that one because it didn't have the suicidal fun bit because there's nothing fun about suicide. They
No.
obviously made that much more
What did
upbeat.
Queen say? Don't try suicide.
Yeah,
That was the B-side for Another One Bites the Dust. I had that on 45. Remember 45s?
I do.
Back in the day.
I really do. So yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's an interesting point. Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet. It's a story we know. However, we do need to be cautious about things, especially in the mental health crisis that we see around the world. We've got assisted dying bill here in the UK. The government's trying to push that. It's not okay to help people to kill themselves because you know what God says: you are made with value, with purpose, and on purpose. And I think I've got to say that clearly.
No, that's exactly right. And I would say raising 3 teenagers, my kids are 18, 16, and 14. This has been a real issue for us. In 8th grade, when my son was 12, the first week of school, one of his friends took his life.
Wow.
And he's been in and out of therapy for 4 years. And, when I was growing up, I'm sure there were isolated people who took their lives here and there, but that wasn't a thing. You didn't worry about kids, committing suicide. But that is the world we're living in today. And our kids may be wrestling more deeply than we realize. And so I think if you haven't had that conversation, if you have a son or a daughter who seems a little bit withdrawn, or you're noticing those changes in mental health and behavior, man, you just want to be on top of that, because it's the reality of the world we're living in today.
It is, in a world where we're told that value is based on yesterday. It's very hard, or your last effort, or how many likes did your last post get. It's not conducive. Is it an angry old man thing? I don't think this is. It's not conducive to good mental health.
No,
but
it's
again,
not.
I've got to say this: you are made on purpose, and you are made with purpose, and God absolutely adores who He designed you to be. So
love that. That is a great word.
Speak to somebody. Right. I think that's it. That's us. Okay. We talked a lot of music. I've just realized the time. Adam, thank you. I really like that one. I had this thought of, I wonder what you enjoy most, because it's one of those things. Random story. I used to go to a market in Wolverhampton where I used to grow up in the Midlands in England, and there was a lady who used to work on a cheese stall. That's all they sold, just all these massive range of cheeses. And I said, "Do you like cheese?" And everyone said, "That's a stupid question." Of course she does. And she said, "No, can't stand it." Do you know why? Because I stand here for 8 hours a day smelling cheese. I can't stand it when I get home. But it's interesting that some people would have different opinions. Adam, how can they get all of these reviews, including that one of, was it? I've forgotten the name of the band.
Ghost.
And there was an album was
Skeleta or Skeletate. There's an accent mark. So, something
Don't do
Skeleta.
Accents. That's like foreign stuff. I don't know.
You can find that and everything else we review at pluggedin.com. And we are a ministry of Focus on the Family, and any kind of family issues, marriage, parenting, any of the struggles your families are going for, you can find help at focusonthefamily.com.
Adam, Plugged In, thank you kindly, sir.
You bet. Thank you, Andy.
Here at Pure 24/7 Radio, we have had the privilege of speaking to some amazing people with amazing stories.
Now, what about, I thought I'd go a bit further, what about goat and sheep's milk? Becoming quite popular. Very similar to cow's milk. So we don't use it in the first year of life, you can afterwards. And their nutrient profiles, how good they are, is pretty similar to cow's milk. Allergenicity, how often do they cause allergies? About the same. They're a bit more expensive sometimes. It's pretty equivalent.
Yeah, we're really excited, especially excited for Josh because it's his first book and he's really passionate with that Gen. Did you say Gen Z or Gen Z? I've heard it said
I don't know. I'm too old. I don't know.
Yeah, we're not in that age category, so we've not got a clue what they're called.
It's a pot boiler. It's a good, exciting popcorn thriller. I didn't think it was anything too special, but I think watching it at home, people will probably enjoy it more than I did going to the cinema to see it. Really good film.
I love it. I walk into a cinema and I turn my phone off. Nobody can get hold of me for a couple of hours. I'm in a completely other world. But every single time I go to the cinema, and for me it's like going to Oz. It's like going to another world and escaping and relaxing, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
If you have missed any of these interviews or would like to hear them again, you can. Simply head over to our catch-up section at www.pure247radio.org. That's www.pure247radio.org.